Jag, congratulations on winning Big Brother. How does it feel the morning after? Have you even recovered from last night yet?
Thank you so much. It is. I feel like I'm in a dream right now. Nothing feels real. I'm feeling every positive emotion all at once, and part of me is still scared that I'm gonna wake up in the Big Brother house tomorrow. So uh, I don't know how I'm feeling.
I mean, a lot of fans thought you could or would lose to Matt if you took him, and it seemed like you did too. Like you literally said to him, like you're gonna win.
Mhm.
But I think like after the jury Q&A and your speeches, like I especially was like Jag's winning. Did you feel a shift after that point?
I hoped that there would be a shift. I really did think, like sitting next to Matt, that he would have. Um, I thought that it was going to be an uphill battle for me, sitting next to him instead of Bowie Jane. And with my speeches and my answers, I was very passionate and I owned up to my game, and that was me fighting for myself, and fighting to show everyone how I've played. And I didn't know if it swayed people enough, but I think the moment I actually felt like, okay, I may have swayed some people is when people actually started casting their votes and saying briefly, you know, who they casted it for. And that's when I realized, like, when Bowie Jane said, like, I'm going to keep my word, she, that means she voted for me. She gave me her word that she would vote for me. So as they gave their reasoning, I sort of realized what was happening.
Yeah, they weren't very vague with their statements there.
They definitely weren't.
Well, your answers and your speech were, like you said, very impassioned and intense at times. Did you mean for it to come off that way?
Look, I mean, I didn't I'm a very passionate person, and this was my moment to own up to everything. 100 days of me fighting so hard to get to this moment, and I felt like I had fought so hard to be here, and I didn't know if the jury had knew that. And so this was me showing them, like, look, this is everything I've done. Like, I've worked so hard. I'm not just here by luck. Like, it didn't just happen to be this way. And so I know that it came off really like intense. But honestly, I don't regret it. Like, I'm passionate. I'm gonna stand up for myself, and that was just my way of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, the jury definitely wanted you to own up to your moves. Did you suspect that's what they wanted?
I didn't suspect what they wanted. I just knew that that was my only option, right? Like, I had I had a lot of their blood on my hands, and I knew that. And I could either cower away from that and pretend like I didn't make those moves, or I could fully own up to it and say, yes, this is the game I played, and I simply outplayed you. And that was my best bet at getting any votes.
Mhm. Well, Matt said there was no leader between you guys, and then you immediately followed by saying there was a leader, me. Did you see that as an opening to take credit?
Um, I did not know they were going to ask that question at all. And so I was like, oh my gosh. But, with all of my answers, all I could do is be honest. And my truth was that I felt like I led a lot of these moves. And I led a lot of the planning that went on. Um, and so that was my way of owning up to even that. Like, yes, Matt and I have been loyal to each other, but we didn't play the same game. And it was important for me to make that distinction.
Hmm. How close were you to actually cutting that at Final Four?
Yeah, I'm the type of person that I'll analyze every decision to the core, even if I'm not going to make that decision. And I've done that throughout the season. At the Final Four, it was no different. There's definitely a lot of weight to that decision as well, because I knew it was a $750,000 that are at stake. For me, ultimately, I knew I was going to make the decision that I would be proud of, that my family would be proud of, my community would be proud of. And I wanted to be able to look back and hold my head up high. You know, Matt saved me in this game. He didn't turn his back on me, and it would feel wrong if I turned my back on him. And so I took him to the very end.
Mhm.
And even in that final two decision, I genuinely thought like he might just win this thing. And so I still stuck with that decision because I knew I would rather do the right thing instead of take the coward's way out and evict him then.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Well, lastly, the mafia was in power the last 2 weeks, and you guys talked about isolating Felicia and Sari. You guys didn't actually go through with it, but was that just kind of like mob mentality because you guys were in control that whole time?
In terms of isolation, there was nothing intentionally that we were trying to do to isolate them. I actually had like a conversation with Felicia where she mentioned feeling left out, and I fully owned up to that, and I said, "Look, I've never wanted you to feel left out in any way or isolated in any way," and I encouraged the rest of the mafia as well. Like, hey, let's spend time with them as well. Let's make sure that they feel included. Like, invite them to hang out with us and all of that, because on a personal level, I never want anyone to feel that way. On a game level, obviously there is a line that is drawn. It's very clear that they're trying to get me out of the house, and so I have to fight for myself. But yeah,
Hmm. Yeah. Well, Jack, congratulations again. It was great speaking with you, and have a good one.
thank you so much.
Thank you.